So a new, really interesting Predator movie came out this weekend and I got to check it out, Predator Badlands, and honestly, it is a really solid film. This is directed by Dan Trachtenberg, who has previously directed Prey and then did Predator Killer of Killers this past summer, both of which have been excellent Predator movies. And here we get to see a Predator, a Yautja, as the protagonist, which is really interesting. It follows this predator named Dek, and Dek is sort of the runt of his clan. He's smaller than all of the other Yautja and is cast away. He decides to go to this one planet anyways to hunt what seems to be like the most feared creature in the galaxy, or at least the creature that Yautja fear the most, to bring back its head and prove that he is worthy within the clan. And he ends up meeting this one character, Thea, who is this android played by Elle Fanning, and a couple of other characters come throughout the story, and they go on this adventure through this planet, this death planet. And it's just so well constructed within the story, like everything connects. There's a tie back to everything. There is not a loose end left loose. It's a very tightly knit, well put together story. It also did tie in a little bit to Alien, so clearly they are trying to merge these two and have an Alien vs Predator movie, and I'm sure that Dek is probably the Predator that they want to use. Dek as a character is really interesting. He goes through this arc that I think is essentially like overcoming toxic masculinity and just sort of alpha male culture, and realizing that like being a true leader is not about like being this dominant alpha male type force. It's about fostering community and making people feel strong and protecting that community. And just the arc of that journey I thought was really interesting. It has some just funny bits along the way where it's like toxic masculinity, and like shows him growing past that. And I just felt that that was just like a really well-deserved arc. Elle Fanning is so good in this movie as Thea. She is just really funny and adds like a really nice level of comic relief that never feels like too much, but it just feels like that right amount of comic relief because our lead does not speak English. So she just adds that for you as an audience member, and I think it was very appreciated. Unfortunately, there was one moment towards the end where it just felt like the comic relief like just completely overpowered what should have been an emotional moment. And I was honestly really confused because I was like, this moment is supposed to be really emotional, but instead it was just kind of played off for laughs completely. And I was like, oh, like I'm over here, like I was feeling devastated for 1 second, and now I feel like I have to push that away to like try to laugh at these jokes. And that just wasn't great, if we're being honest. But aside from that, I think they did nail like that healthy dose of comedy within this film without doing too much overkill. The planet itself that the story inhabits, like you really do feel the danger. Every single moment has like just something that's dangerous. Even like the grass is razor sharp, and if you walk through it, it can just cut you into pieces, or the trees happen to have vines on them that can get you. There's just some sort of menacing presence everywhere you go. You never feel like safe and comfortable in this film. You are always on edge that something can just come around the corner and get these characters. You don't necessarily feel like these characters are gonna die. Like there is no like real sense of like death danger, but there is always like a sense of like what is going to come next, what problem is going to come around the corner and face these characters. Not to mention that this is so impressive for a movie that has barely over $100 million budget. What they are able to do with the visual effects here is so impressive. I'm sure that there was a lot of influence from Gareth Edwards towards just how they were able to budget out and make the visual effects work. And it looks great from an effects standpoint. Unfortunately, the coloring of this movie is so gray and dull. Like, on this new planet, I think that there were a lot of chances for the colors to just get to pop and it to almost feel like a Wizard of Ozzy with just how bright and vibrant those colors could have been. But instead, like, it's just an ugly looking place. Like, you'll see them look at this really impressive view, but the view does not feel that impressive because it's just so dull. I just think that this movie would have been quite a big touch better if they just had a better, more saturated color grade on it. Not to mention that there are like smaller themes within this movie about environmentalism and how, like, if you kind of trust the environment and nurture it instead of try to attack it, it can be so helpful and beneficial to you. And I think if you had more of a saturated color, it just would have made that environment seem so much more beautiful. And of course, this is a Predator movie, but it's PG-13, so I know people are worried that the blood and guts in this film just won't be as good as you would expect for a Predator movie, and I'm here to tell you that you're completely wrong. It's just that there's no human blood spilt, so all the blood and guts that they have here is fine because it's all just like CGI monsters. But for those CGI monsters, I mean, you know, there's a moment where like one is just completely split in half. They still go crazy with the gore. You will not be disappointed. It's just that there's not a R rating attached to it and you are not watching people get torn up. And just the action overall is really exciting and entertaining. This is just a very entertaining movie in general. And it's so exciting to see what some franchises are beginning to do, like, with their properties. Like, if we are not going to get totally original movies, then at least we are getting franchises like Predator that are completely respinning what they are doing with their movies. They are not just giving like a basic like retelling of the original. Instead, they are taking like the lore and crafting something that we have never seen before in that universe. I'm so excited to see what Trachtenberg does next with the Predator movies. He is fantastic with these. I'm giving this one 3.5 stars personally. I highly recommend that you go and check it out. And if you already have, please let me know in the comments what you thought of Predator Badlands. I'd love to start a dialogue in this film because I really think that it's gonna kick off what should be a pretty successful November for film after such a disappointing September, October run of movies. I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks for tuning in and take care.